Gordon Traill here. I spent 28 years in the Army. Had a break of service. Then September 11 happened. I was in Civvy Street. When September 11 happened, I rejoined the Army and I was back in uniform 6 weeks later. And then they posted me to Vic Barracks in Melbourne to run a desk for about 2 years, and then finally got to Darwin and deployed to Iraq in 2004. Yeah.
That's a long service.
Yeah, it was good, but I enjoyed every day, And I was medically discharged in 2006 with post-traumatic stress disorder, and I had some severe neck trauma as well, and lower back injuries and the knee. So yeah, so it was a long career, but I loved it every day. It was really good. So yeah,
that's fantastic. And since then, you've taken up art as a hobby, therapy.
Yeah, well, when I first was diagnosed with PTSD, and so I lost my job, so I lost identity, I lost everything that was part of my lifestyle for so many years, the fitness, the, going to work, mixing with friends, mates, and then so when they medically discharged me, I was sort of like, I was very lost for around about 6 years or so, not knowing what to do. Then, I used to say to my people, oh yeah, my wife told me to get out and get a hobby, so I took up photography. But basically what she really meant was she wanted me to become passionate about something that I could do and really enjoy, and she suggested photography because I took a 1 megapixel point and shoot camera to Iraq, so I could show, because I was 48 at the time when I went to Iraq, so I wanted to show the kids, we got 4 children, so I wanted to show them, what the crazy old man was doing over there, and so I did that, and then so my wife suggested this photography club, so because my brother-in-law just joined it, so I went there, and in that first night I was hooked. So from there I got a hand-me-down camera, from my daughter, which I'd bought for her so she could do a photography course, and she goes, "Here you go, Dad, you can use this." And I go, "Oh, thanks for that." So
came back.
So I started taking, just with the 50mm lens and that, I was, just taking shots. And then our eldest son, who'd been to uni and did his masters and then was lecturing, he decided to stop doing that and become a chef. So he started adult, he was later in life, did his apprenticeship. So after that, he said, "I'm going to New York." And my wife said, "Oh, you can't let him go to New York and do a foodies tour through New York by himself." So I said, "I'll take one for the team."
I like that.
So when I came back from there, I had my photos on the camera, and I printed some out, and the kids, they're adults, they're really, they tell you straight up if it's crap or good and that. So they encouraged me. They said, "Oh, these are pretty good, Dad." So that was good for my self-confidence. And then I just started going to the camera club and entering competitions, and I was successful here and there. And so I built like a portfolio of my work, and I traveled, and then I was starting to travel. So it allowed me to really get out and about. So I didn't have to, it freed my mind up with everything else, and I was able to lose myself in what I was doing with photography. So, and then about 3 years ago, I was asked because TPIs, do you know what TPI is? TPI is totally and permanently incapacitated veterans. It's an ex-service organisation. It's predominantly Vietnam veterans. They're in the 70s now, so we're trying to get some younger versions of TPIs into it. And that. So they offered me a gig of being a lead photographer for a book called The Victoria Cross Australia Remembers, and I'm thinking, oh yeah, I'll just go around Victoria and take a few snaps and blah, 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 and that'd be it. But no, this led to going to the Western Front, going all around Australia, UK, New Zealand, everywhere. So it was
fantastic.
Just handed to me. So they paid for all the accommodation. I didn't get paid for it, but they paid for the accommodation and travel, and so it was great. So that was really good. So that increased my sort of, how good's this, sort of thing. So I started to get really serious when I was doing that. And then the publisher, he asked me if I'd like to be a co-author in another book. So I did a book on the Invictus Games, and that photo I sent you previously, the one with the swimmer at the side of the pool, that was taken around about 8:20 in the morning, and and he was, and what attracted me to him was the artwork on his back, the tattoos. He was obviously worked with tanks and that. So then when I zoomed in on him, I saw that his legs were sitting at the side of the pool, and so it told me the story of where he's been and what he's going through. So I decided to do the book with Denny, the publisher of Big Sky Publishing. So I did the interviews just over the phone and recorded them and stuff. Then I sent them off to one of the other authors, and she put them together. She wordsmithed it fantastically. And then so then that was launched not this Anzac Day, the Anzac Day in 2018, 19. Yeah. So we did a launch at the Essendon Football Club. They have a pre-Anzac Day thing. There was about 1,000 people there, so that was really good. So I didn't do any photography for a little while, and then COVID-19 started in February. So, and after being shortlisted for the Napier Waller Art Prize last year and being in the actual exhibition at the Australian War Memorial, my wife, she comes up with these ideas that I have to implement. And she suggested, she goes, why don't you take up art, painting and add something that you wanted to, she just suggested that I do some artwork for this year's Napier Waller Art Prize. So I got...
So had you painted previously?
No. I'll just turn this light on. No, I'd never painted previously at all, mate. So in February, I went and did a weekend workshop down in Torquay, which is only 15 minutes down the road from me. And I went and did this big flower. So when I walked in, there's a metre by a metre canvas in front of me, and I went, how the friggin' hell am I going to do this? So through Jackie Burke, the artist, and there was probably about 6 others in there. So we did these big paintings of flowers. So once again, I got hooked straight up. So and then I started to go along to her only for a short while. Started to do some oil painting, and like on a weekly for about 3 hours on a Wednesday afternoon and that. So I'd never painted, never drawn anything, never did zip.
It's impressive because I know that I can't paint or draw, and I didn't realise that you'd only started, having seen the photo of the painting that you sent through. Yeah. I was surprised to hear that you only started painting in February.
Yeah, and I found, like, with photography, you know what sort of genre you like, and that's only by doing that genre over a period of time, and you sort of fall back into it. And so I'm on that journey now with the artworks. Acrylics, oils are, they take a million hours to dry and stuff like that. So as I said in that quick email I sent you with the photo of the big Iraq flag and my images behind it, ripped and burnt and sewn up and stuff like that. That allowed me for the first time to put my thoughts about, prior, during, and after my journey to Iraq. So for the first time, so it's been very cathartic for me to put that down and say, right, that's it, done that. And I've always wanted to paint some of my artwork, and I love that photo I took on the Western Front there.
It's a fantastic photo.
Yeah, so I wanted to do something, so I started doing that in oils, but it wasn't drying quick enough for me. So I started, because there's no rules in that, so they say. So I just went and got some ink and stuff like that and started doing little fine details on the poppy stands and stuff like that. And I think it's turned out not too bad for a first go at trying to replicate that. And so I entered it and see how I go this year. But
so that the painting's your entry into the
paint,
Walla this year?
The painting and the photo together,
cool.
That's one entry. And the bigger one, which is the 1 by 1.5 metre one, that's also an entry into the Napier Walla art.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
And then last year was the photo of the swimmer from the Invictus Games. Was that your entry last year?
Yeah, that was one of my entries last year, and so it was. It was. I was really surprised. I was so stoked because the first year in 2018 was the first year they held the Napier Walla Art Prize. So I was shortlisted for that, and that was on the online version. They have all the highly commended. That's what they call the finalists, is the highly commended, but the shortlisted ones are also put on the Australian War Memorial's website. You can vote for viewer's choice, and you can win $5,000. But then last year I was actually in the highly commended for the finalists, so that was worth $10,000. So I jumped up one level. So I was really happy just to be shortlisted the first year, and then go one step further the next year. So,
and you must be excited about this year's entry, considering it's not photography; it's a whole new medium, but very different.
Yeah, it's a whole new ball game, and I've got lots of ideas because when I the ink and stuff like that, I want to do the skyline of New York, and I want to do some really fine detail and stuff. So I've got a photo sitting in here of the New York skyline that I took. So I've had a dabble with that one. So, but I want to get more intricate detail. I'll send you a photo of that one too.
Yeah, I'd love to see. And so would you do the same process as the poppy? Would you oil and then ink as well?
I'm not, because what it is, I'll just spin this around, mate. You might be able to see the photo. Can you see that photo?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great photo.
So that's in, I'll turn that into monochrome. So I'll probably do that in ink and maybe some coffee. I make up a coffee solution maybe, but the darkness, I really want to play around with some watercolors as well. So that's one of the things I've been doing in this journey, is playing with all different types of medium. And there's no rules, mate. So
that is the good thing about art.
It's very subjective, and people like it, people don't like it. So hey,
what's the saying? I don't know much about art, but I know what I like.
Yeah, that's it.
That's about it, isn't it?
Yeah.
So it must have been I mean, starting and going to the first photography group, must have been a real turning point for you. Can you explain how that sort of helped your journey?
Yeah, well, when I first walked into the club rooms and that, they have a monthly meeting where all the club members put in entries for the monthly challenge. It could be an open class, or it could be monochrome. It can be birds, whatever. So I walked in there, and there's in front of me all these amazing photos with just the matching around the outside of the photos, and then they had a judge come in and they score points out of 15 on each item, and then they had some on. So that was the physical stuff. Then they had some that they projected onto the screen, and they spoke about that as well. So when I listened to what they were saying, and then I thought, yeah, I can do this. I reckon I can do this. Yeah. So my self-talk started to switch gears, and one of the things that my psychiatrist had always spoke to me about, because I ended up in a psych ward for about 4.5 months when I came back in Geelong and he said, look, I don't want you to become a bitter and twisted veteran. Like, there's a lot out there. So I thought, that's always in the back of the head. And, so I thought, yeah, I reckon I could do this. So I started then taking the photos. And then, with the family's encouragement, they said, oh, yeah, that's good. And then they had this. Then I found out about they had, through Department of Veteran Affairs, they had this story writing and art competition which was held every year, and they held it since 1962, and it's now gone defunct. The last one was 2018 was the last one they had. So it ran every year. So I heard about it, and I put some of my images from my Iraq journey there, and I was successful in winning an award, and that. So that sort of encouraged me, and it was just confirmation that I'm on the right track. People obviously see something in my work that they like, so it's not just myself and that. So yeah,
especially if you're getting good feedback from the family,
yeah.
because they're your hardest critics.
Oh, yeah. So and my wife, she knows what a good photo looks like. Tell her to take it. No, she can't do it. And I'm not a real technical person when it comes to photography. I see something and I just hit it. So, yeah, it's something within me, and that I feel that it's right and that. So, yeah.
That's really exciting.
Yeah.
It's quite funny. So COVID for me, so I've always loved cars, Gordon.
Yeah.
And I've got lots of cars that are projects.
Yeah.
And I finally got the time to go and work on one of them. And I forgot how much I enjoyed it. And now it's like, all right, I'm going to get all the projects back on the road. And I was like, yes. So I got the car that I had, and I crashed it 5 years ago, and they just straightened the chassis. I was been sitting at home for 5 years. It took me 2 days to fix. My wife's gone. It only took 2 days, Trent. Why is it sitting here for 5 years?
That's good, isn't it?
It's not really nice to just so for me, it was like finding an old passion and firing up.
Yeah.
It was I enjoyed it so much.
Yeah.
So now I've got all the projects going.
Yeah, so I think that COVID sort of really sped up my art process, because I had that time because I had that first weekend of doing it, then a couple of because it's not one-on-one lessons that you go. It's more of a social thing that you go to Jackie's, and she'll say, right, you got your image that you're taking a photo of what you want to paint, blah, blah, blah. And she'll come along and say, oh, why don't you try this? So you do that. So it allowed me to just feel free and just go for broke on anything I wanted. So I've been doing, inks, the watercolors, drawings, and stuff like that. So yeah,
it's fantastic. And so when does the judging and the results for this year's Napier?
So it's still open until the 21st of this month. Then you find out if you're a highly commended or shortlisted on the 13th of July, but they won't. It's because it's under embargo until August the 20-something. And then September 24th is they have a function up at the War Memorial. And if you're in the highly commended, they pay for you to fly up, and they put you up accommodation and
fantastic.
stuff. So yeah, so it's a buzz, mate. But And also I'm an art mentor with the Australian National Veterans Arts Museum. We're trying to get the building at 310 St Kilda Road. It's right next door to, on the corner of Coventry Street and St Kilda Road. It used to be, it's an old Art Deco building. It's the Army's had it for, it was built in the 30s, I think, or 20s. For as a day hospital for World War One veterans and that. So I'm involved in their, just mentoring people, come alongside and encourage younger veterans to, produce art, I guess. Yeah.
Fantastic. And how long have you been doing that for?
I've done that for a couple of years, and and I've run some sort of classes at Geelong RSL in photography for veterans. Just something to do. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Off my own bat. And, yeah.
Really appreciate the time, Gordon.
No worries. Trent, lovely to meet you, mate. And I'm sure it won't be the last time we talk, mate.
I'm confident our paths will cross again soon.
No worries, mate. Thanks
mate.
Mate.
Have a good one.
Thanks, mate. Bye-bye.